stumped him. He stumped him. He stumped him. Nice block. Wow. Great penetration. Surge through the middle of that. Michigan State first and goal. Yeah. Outstanding play.
Good evening. You are looking live at Inside the Locker Room. I'm your co-host, Brian Mosallam, alongside my co-host, Jason Strayhorn, the Honorable. How you doing, Jason?
I'm doing fantastic. I like this Paul Bunyan trophy here you got. You know, it's a little festive mood for a festive time of year.
Oh.
Bowl season. All kind of, like, personal awards going on. All kind of great stuff that we're going to talk about today, and recruiting.
Absolutely. You know, when you talk about trophies, that's one I like over there. What do you think?
That one right there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man. That's the one.
Yeah.
The only blemish to Michigan's perfect record.
Absolutely. And hats off.
Hey.
Hats off to the Wolverines. And
Big Ten champs.
Absolutely. Big Ten champs heading to the college playoffs.
Did you say chumps?
No,
champs.
no.
So you got to say it the correct way.
It
Big Ten champions, Michigan Wolverines.
Freudian slip.
I heard you say chumps, but it's okay.
Hats off to the Wolverines heading to the Big Ten championship. And but you know, we got our own little pathway here going. New York New Year's Day.
I like
6
that.
bowl.
New York.
I do. New Year's Day 6 bowl, heading into Hotlanta. What do you think about that, Jason? MSU playing against the Pitt Panthers on December 30th. What are your thoughts there at all?
Hey, man, I think it's a great move for Michigan State, being in the New Year's 6 bowl, the Peach Bowl. It's a great bowl. Chick-fil-A, by the way. We love Chick-fil-A. Everybody loves Chick-fil-A, except you, maybe. But I'm going to tell you what. Georgia, a huge recruiting hotbed for one Mel Tucker and his staff, having roots at University of Georgia when he was a coach there, defensive coordinator. There's a lot of talent that is coming out of the state of Georgia that we're going to get to coming up in a few segments from now. But I think that it's going to be a infomercial for Michigan State all over the great state of Georgia at the Peach Bowl. So it's a good thing for Michigan State and a good thing for the future of the program.
So you talk about a New Year's Day 6 bowl, and if I told you back in August that we would have an opportunity to play in Atlanta in the Peach Bowl and a New Year's Day 6 bowl, you would take that all day long. 10-2, beating Michigan, heading down there and playing in a game like that. I'll tell you what, it's a special feeling. I expect the Spartans to travel well, and we're excited for this outcome. We're excited for this game. So, you know, like, what are, you know, bowl preparation now heading into over the next month? How important is that for a young team, not only to get healthy, but to get reps for the younger players?
It's a big deal. It really is. To be able to get those extra bowl practices in, you know, think about those who don't get it. If you don't get to a bowl game and you're not able to get those extra reps in, it puts you behind the 8 ball in a lot of ways. This is an opportunity for guys to get healthy who weren't there later in the season, as we've seen, to be able to get back in the fray and start practicing and getting into the swing of things. It's going to be an opportunity for some young guys who haven't had much action at all to be able to get back to basics in camp, in a camp-like situation during practice. Bowl week practices are very summer camp, fall camp-like, spring football-like, where they work on their skill, their craft. And then, like, they get to prepare for a very, very good opponent in University of Pittsburgh. You know, when you talk about them, the Panthers, they have a Heisman Trophy candidate at quarterback. They've got one heck of a defense. Pat Narduzzi, former defensive coordinator for Michigan State, is the head coach of the Pitt Panthers. And, you know, there's going to be a lot of mixed feelings. Look at that fake slide right there by the quarterback. And he kept running and gets a touchdown as they went on to rout the Wake Forest team in the ACC championship. Yeah, very good player.
He's a good player. I mean, you got a lot of storylines coming out of this. But MSU chief of propaganda, you like that Paul Bunyan up on the desk, don't you? So
Chief.
We put that
Happy
up
birthday.
for you. COP.
Happy birthday, Chief.
Happy
by the way.
birthday. brother, we put that up for you. But a lot of storylines heading into this game. Obviously, Kenny Pickett, Heisman Trophy finalist, who's had a tremendous year. Pitt's offense is one of the most prolific in the country, I believe, averaging 43-some points a game. You talk about Pitt's rush defense, number one in the ACC, giving up 93 yards a game. And when you look at this, and you look at this matchup, and football's all about matchups, right? I mean, look, we love Narduzzi. Nobody wants to play against Pat. I mean, we love Coach. I mean, he's a brother to us, and we cheer for him every game.
We do. We actually do.
Putting that aside, when you look at the matchups and you look at football's all about matchups, right? Their strength maybe is perceived as one of our weaknesses, and their quarterback is a Heisman Trophy finalist, invited to New York, and we're going to get some guys back. We're going to get healthy. Tell me some of the challenges that we face here in Atlanta, Jason.
This is a very good team. You talk about a conference championship in a Power 5 conference in the ACC. And you just talked about Kenny Pickett, a guy who can sling it around. He makes great decisions. He's a big quarterback. He's going to be he's a lock to be a first-round draft pick in the NFL draft, in next spring's draft. You got a guy who can spread that ball around. But then defensively, as you see right here, just an opportunistic defense. That secondary, they play that man-to-man press coverage. They get back. They are ball hawks, and they can knock quarterbacks out the game. I think they've knocked every quarterback out of the game except the 2 games they lost. So they can bring it. That's what a Pat Narduzzi-led defense does. They will come after you, and with that relentless behavior that Mel Tucker talks about in East Lansing. This is going to be tough for Michigan State up front to be able to block and keep Peyton Thorne clean in a game as big as this, on a stage like this at the Peach Bowl. When you're talking about the Mercedes-Benz Stadium down in Atlanta, this is a pro stadium, all the glitz, the glamour, everything that you can ask for if you're a Big Ten opponent or a team like Michigan State facing an ACC champion like the Pitt Panthers.
Speaking of Pat Narduzzi, who we revere, we love, we've had some great years with him. Are we happy to play Pat Narduzzi down in Atlanta? Do we look every
I'm happy
game,
to see him.
I'm happy to see him too. Listen,
you want to see Pat?
Happy to see him too. I love dudes.
It's like fighting your brother, in a way.
It is, because I love him to death, and I want to see him win every game. And obviously, one of the storylines
that you haven't seen in a long time, by the way, a long lost brother you haven't seen. You gonna fight him?
Talked to him many times, but no.
I'm saying, as a team. So I don't know.
I know, but we want to see him succeed, and I texted him the other day.
Here we go. I texted
Really?
him. I need an alarm. Can we get one of those?
Really?
You texted him.
Really?
Can you send me the number?
Really?
I need to talk to Pat.
Pat,
can you?
The point is that
can I talk to you, Pat?
I was talking to him about how much I love him, and I don't love the Pitt matchup. I'd rather play Notre Dame. I would rather play Notre Dame, but we're here now. But one of the storylines is that we're playing Pitt, and some of the best defenses we had were under Pat Narduzzi up at Michigan State, and what are your feelings about that?
It's tough. You're right. When you brought up Notre Dame, that's why I selfishly wanted to play them, because it's a trophy game. It's a megaphone trophy game. It's a rivalry, something that we haven't been able to do in a while. Notre Dame has ended that series that we used to have, and it was near and dear to our hearts for so many years, especially while we played Michigan State, Notre Dame. You go back all the way to the 60s when there was a 10-10 tie in East Lansing against Notre Dame, dual national champions, similar to what happened in '97 with Michigan and Nebraska. That was the beginning of that. It was one of the early controversies of national championships. So, yes, there was a lot of history there, and you want to have something like that. You want to take that history and bring it into the current environment of college football. You see Brian Kelly moves on to go to LSU. He adopts a great Southern accent on the way down to LSU in one plane ride. And now they have a new coach, in Marcus Freeman, who, man, the guy has 6 kids. He's a young man. He's very, very talented from all accounts. But I would love that matchup for Michigan State. But this one here, this is still a big stage, a big challenge, and you got a great opponent in the Pitt Panthers.
That's amazing. How did Brian Kelly get that accent all of a sudden? Isn't that incredible?
Listen, when you're flying down south on that Gulf Stream like he did from South Bend, there's something that hits your vernacular. And once you cross that Mason-Dixie, it just... My family. I just loved it, man.
He's from Massachusetts. Where did that come from? You got
hey, you guys don't know. You got to look this one up. It's all over. It's online
Coach
everywhere.
Tuck got $95 million. He didn't change his tone. When you watch his presser, even Randy Moss yesterday was like, "Come on, man, Coach Kelly, come on,
Coach. What are we doing,
You're getting
Coach?
paid. The contract's signed, brother. You're getting $95 million winner now.
You don't got to relate to the people down there like that, man. Just win. They don't care about your vernacular. They care about W's. That's what they care about down there. and multiple,
Family.
The guy that came before you, he's a raging Cajun for real. We talk about old Ogeron. Now, he's a raging Cajun.
When you can understand them, yep.
Hey, it was Yosemite Sam.
Yeah. Brian Kelly, I just listen, $95 million is a lot of money, as Coach Tucker, with all due respect. It's fantastic.
Oh, my goodness.
But where did you get that Southern, that Cajun drawl from?
In one flight, one way.
Family. I can't stop watching it. I really enjoy it.
It's awesome.
It is fantastic. God bless you. Fish out of water might be the wrong expression, but a Midwest guy from Massachusetts heading down to LSU. Hey, for $95 million, I'll go jump in the Baltic Sea and fish, I guess. But
figure it out. You'll figure it out. He just hired the head coach of McNeese State to be to recruit. They got a lot of budget down there at LSU, so we'll see what happens down there. But we were talking about Notre Dame and the opportunity to potentially play them, which we're not playing them. Notre Dame is going to play who now? Oklahoma State?
I think so.
Is that what it is?
Who actually had a great hire. But when you go back to Pat Narduzzi, right? Tell me some of your great dude stories.
Oh, dude story.
Yeah, back when he was at MSU, right?
I can't tell dude stories. That's not for TV. That's not for public consumption. Here he is right here. He's a fiery individual. Let's put it that way. That's a guy who says exactly what's on his mind. He wears his heart on his sleeve.
Amped up.
Yeah. As in broadcasting, right? You're doing the game, and the coaching staff is next to us, literally right next to us. We're separated by a window pane, just a little small sliver of glass, and I could always hear Pat Narduzzi screaming, hollering. You could it's almost like it's one of those cartoon characters. I can't think of the guy's name, but you could feel this energy when there was like a converted third down or something like that, and he would come out of the booth and go down on the sideline. And we haven't heard that since he's left. It's been a while. We're 8 years ago he's been here. I think it was like 7 years. It's taken him. And you don't hear that intensity. That's an intense individual, and I'm happy that he got his championship.
So am I.
Yeah.
My greatest dude story was in 2013, before the Michigan game. Taylor Lewan comes out and stomps on the S, and in the locker room before the game, it's all quiet. Deuce comes walking in, and I mean goes ballistic. Just starts, dropping F-bombs, talking about the disrespect, the way he's sick and tired of the way that this university's treated, the players are treated. I can't even repeat what he said, but he took a chair and he hit the eraser board, broke it in half. I was sweating, and I was ready to get laced up and get out there. I'm 40-some years old, and he was irate. And I mean, that's fire.
Yeah.
When you bring that heat and that fire, you got to respect that. And Dews, I love Dews. I wish him nothing but the best, except on the 30th, 31st,
30th,
30th,
yeah. 7 p.m. on the 30th. Yeah, he would break something every week. I mean, that was Narduzzi's thing.
He brought some heat, man. I love Pat Narduzzi. Wish him nothing but the best. And obviously, it's one of the storylines heading into Saturday. But another storyline this past week was K9 getting snubbed. K9,
Can't believe that one. Now that's a tough one. For the life of me, and there's a lot of writers that have the ability to vote on the Heisman Trophy finalist. There's a lot of people out. There's an outcry saying, "Hey, why don't we get transparent with that so we can see who voted for what?"
Why can't we?
Who knows? How many people have voted for this thing?
Do we know
anyway?
who's voting? Do we have any?
It seems like, just based on the people who say they're voters, there's about 14,000 guys that are and girls that are voting for this and counting. Which I don't know why we have so many people that are voting.
I want to know where Larry Lage voted. Solari vote. Where are your votes? I want to know the local guys how they voted.
You want to know?
I do.
Let's call for that.
Come on, guys. Can we understand where you guys voted?
And just be able to understand. Look at this. That's just a 90-yard touchdown, 93-yard touchdown run. The Heisman moment that we talked about a few weeks ago.
He had 5 of those that game.
And in this game right here.
I mean, look, when you talk about historically, the Heisman Trophy has been historically maybe the best player on the best team. The running back position has been devalued. But when you talk about, there's not another player in America that meant more to his team than K9 did to Michigan State.
No.
And with all due respect to all the others that were selected, and they're all worthy. Every one of them are worthy. To snub K9, who probably will win the Doak Walker, I think is a slight.
We hope. I don't know how many voters are there for that.
I mean,
16 million.
What other back is going to win the Doak Walker over him?
He should be in New York.
I know he should be in New York.
That's the issue. So who knows? Yes, you're right. He is the best back in America. You would think the best back in America would be invited to New York just to be able to celebrate the Heisman. I'm not saying he's going to win it, because it's clear this is Bryce Young's Heisman Trophy.
No question. He won the Heisman versus Georgia. Take that to the bank.
Oh, yeah.
No question.
Oh, yeah.
And look, everybody there is deserving. There is absolutely no question. But if you're going to talk about like who meant more to their team and who, Michigan State, I'm not going to, are they a 500 team without K9? Is that possible?
No. Maybe not. Barely.
He was without question a difference maker. And to snub him heading into New York, I think really is an injustice to him, injustice to the program, an injustice to the fan base, and really to the brand when you think about it.
Yeah, you look at a guy like him. In football, it's so rare to have one player affect the entire game. The way that you see in basketball, for instance. You see a Michael Jordan, you see a LeBron James, you see guys like that, Kevin Durant. They can take over a game by themselves single-handedly because they're one of 10 people on the court. In football, you're just one of 22 people on that field at any given time, plus the referees that are out there, that can or cannot, may not be on your side. But this guy, Kenneth Walker, K9, has the ability. He has shown clearly the ability to change the outcome of a game by himself. And when you look at that, look at the blocking in front of them. Look, we understand offensive line blocking very well. No offense to what's going on with the offensive line at Michigan State, but everybody who has eyes could see he's gone against the best talent in the Big Ten. When you look at what happened with Michigan, you know, there was one issue. He was injured against Ohio State, and, you know, he didn't play that many snaps. He only had 25, 27 yards, something like that on 5-6 carries. But the 197 yards and 5 touchdowns against Michigan, who has a player on that defense who is going to New York, I think is just it speaks to what has happened in sports where the momentum of some networks have been able to propel people forward and then also dampen out others, which I don't think is fair. If anybody really pays attention to what's going on, it's just not fair to the sport in general when you do that to anybody. I mean, have them all go. Let's see where the chips may. But when you take the guy out of the rankings, when you say, okay, these 4 people, let's vote on ESPN.com on who should be going to New York, and there is no Kenneth Walker, makes no sense to me, and I don't think that's fair to the young man who is clearly one of the best players in the United States and clearly in his position and has affected his team more than anybody else in the country.
So when you talk about Aiden Hutchinson, you know, per se, locally, he absolutely deserves Heisman Trophy.
What about Will Anderson?
Consideration. But when if you're talking stats and you're looking at, you know, the best players on the best team, and you look at who deserves to be invited, and you're not talking, you know, hype, and I'm not saying Aiden is being hyped because he's very worthy. I'm talking about pure stats, and I'm talking about, you know, not having
what's
the
that
timing.
What are those stats?
I mean, if you look at stats and you look at very comparable positions, and you look at teams that are both in the playoffs, and you look at teams that both have been, especially Alabama, right, that has been in the dance. You look at some of the stats, you know, the Willie Anderson Jr. can make an argument about being invited to be one of the finalists in New York when you're, and so again, it begs.
I want to ask you a question.
It goes back to your.
If you put those stats back up, can you? If you look at those 2 stats, right? Total tackles 91, 52 solo versus 58. 33 solos. So he almost had as many solos as Aiden had total tackles. The tackle for loss for me, he literally doubled him up in tackles for loss. And then I'll ask the question. You know, we are Big Ten people. Which league is tougher between the folks that Will Anderson Jr. played or who Aiden Hutchinson played?
Look, not to take anything from Aiden Hutchinson.
No, I'm just asking.
I mean, he's had an outstanding game against Ohio State and Iowa, and he's had an outstanding year. Absolutely.
He's going to be a perennial
top
all-pro.
5 pick.
Oh, for sure.
But, you know, if we're looking at stats and we're comparing and we're talking about some of the best players on the best team, I mean, like, some of those numbers are not even close. I mean, they're really not. And so that's the problem with the Heisman. It becomes a PR machine. And it becomes a game of hype. And so, hey, hats off to Aiden Hutchinson, to the other finalists. But there's no question in the world.
You said hype machine. Josh Gaddis just won the Broyles Award.
Did he?
Yeah, he sure did.
Yeah,
just won.
Well, so, I mean, look, they won the Big Ten. They're on the way to the playoffs, and they deserve all, you know, kudos to all of them. I mean, hats off to them and the accomplishments that they've had this year. And you got to give them credit. I mean, you absolutely have to give them credit.
They get credit.
They do.
They get a lot of credit. You don't have to give them to. They're born with it.
They're going to get it either way.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So
they're going to get it either way. So after 5 touchdowns and winning 10 of the last 14, let's hand it to them. We're good. That's fine. Let's shift to recruiting, though. Big week.
Huge
Big week MSU recruiting. What we're talking, December 15 to 17 signing period, and Mel Tucker's zipping all across the country. He is putting together a hell of a class. According to 247, Michigan State's class right now has a national ranking of 19, ranked fourth in the Big Ten with an average rating of .8707. And to talk a little bit about some of these commits and how excited are we about this class, huh?
Oh, man. This is big. You know, they've got some guys on here. I know it's not done yet. Obviously, the first signing period is December 15th through the 17th. It's coming up. It's a week from tomorrow. So that will be, 8 days from now. And you see right now it's a full contact period. Coaches are out on the road. If you follow social media at all, you're seeing coaches do home visits. They're at high schools all over the country. They're doing home visits all over the country. The air mileage is really racking up right now, and they're going out there to make sure they can close some of the deals. Some of these guys that are listed here are the commitments for Michigan State.
Got some great ones, don't we? We got Caton Hauser, quarterback, 11-star quarterback, top 11 quarterback. 11-star. 4-star.
Like 11-star.
We're excited to have him come here. We're really excited. You have Antonio Gates coming out of my alma mater, Fortson High School.
The Tractors.
Oh, yeah, the Tractors. Antonio Gates going to be a special player. Really, really excited about Antonio Gates.
He's got that pedigree.
Coach, the bloodlines, man.
Yeah, his dad.
Talk
Hall
about
of Famer,
the
first
bloodlines,
ballot.
you talk about, there's my school right there, Fortson High School. Antonio Gates. Kid can play now.
Them Tractors.
He can play. He's got some wheels. And, I saw Coach today was over at Fortson High School visiting earlier today. You got Dylan Tatum, which was an interesting get, right? You had Bellamy move over to Michigan, West Bloomfield's coach, and Mel Tucker was able to pluck Dylan Tatum out of West Bloomfield High School. Shows you his reach. Done a hell of a job there. You got Jaden Mangum.
Tatum got to have some love. He went up, Donovan Edwards. He played with Donovan Edwards a year ago, or for the last few years at West Bloomfield. And you saw Donovan. Donovan Edwards has been a star, flat out. Nothing short of a star at Michigan, breaking a record for receiving running backs, 170 yards out of the backfield. And then he throws an absolute dime in the Big Ten championship game. But Dylan Tatum's coming to East Lansing, where it looks like he's going to focus on the defensive back position there, and what better coach to coach him up on that than Mel Tucker, who specializes in defensive back, learning as a former player in the Big Ten and learning from Nick Saban, the best defensive secondary coaches in the world.
We got a top 11 quarterback in Caton Hauser. I know I mentioned that earlier. He's going to be special too. I mean, the coaches are very high on him, very high on his ability to read coverages, high on his ability to hit the deep out, and they think he's going to be really, really special one day. We're really excited about him. You see, you got the Birmingham Groves kid, Mangum, is going to be
Jaden.
Jaden's going to be super special.
Long.
Coaches are very, very high on Jaden Mangum.
Yeah, they
very
really
high
are.
on Malik Spencer, Q Carter, Jack Nichols.
That's a 6'4" safety, Q Carter.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Oh, yeah. Very, very
Leesburg.
high. Very high on all these. I'm telling you, we got put together a class so far that really Mel Tucker's first class, having a full class to come out, ranked 19th in the country. And really somebody right now, when you go back to the portal now, you look at the portal, Jalen Berger, right? You talk about Jalen Berger. We got out of the portal, out of Wisconsin, who we believe is going to move the chains and could be the next K9. I know the staff and Spartan Nation is really, really excited to have Jalen Berger. Do we have any footage on Jalen at all?
Jalen's a very well put together kid. He's been battling his whole life to play the game that he loves. Was able to go to Wisconsin. The good burger, home with the Jalen Burger. Can we take your order?
I can't tell you, Jalen.
Look at him.
How happy the coaches are, the Spartan Nation is to have you. We are excited you're coming to East Lansing. And if you saw what happened to K9 this past year, you could be next.
Yeah.
You could be next. We're very, very excited to have you.
Got to get him branded.
We do got to get him. Yep. We gotta come up with that slogan for him. You know.
Burger
so
8.
we're excited to have Jalen Berger come to East Lansing. He's gonna be a dandy. I'll tell you what. Them Wisconsin backs, one thing they do, they run downfield, don't they?
Downhill. Yeah, they do.
Downhill.
Yeah, they sure do. Tyrell Henry, don't forget about him out of Roseville now. Hey, he's a sleeper. Big athlete.
Tyrell Henry's another one.
Yes.
We got 3 specific targets right now we're looking at on the high school side that I think are really important. You got Armani Winfield, who decommitted from Texas.
Oh, yeah.
Spartan 247 says Michigan State's number 1 on his list. You have Kenyatta Goodwin, who we love. We believe he could be the next Flozell Adams. There's Armani Winfield decommitting from Texas.
Armani.
I mean, bad guy.
Yeah, is that his name? Armani?
Armani, yeah.
Armani. All Armani needs to do is understand.
Here's a message from Jason Strayhorn. Talk to Armani for a second.
Andre Rise and Courtney Hawkins, who's going to be your coach. Musin Muhammad, Derek Mason, Plexico, Charles Wright. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. I mean, we've got some recent guys that are balling. Armani, just come on in. You know, we'll welcome you. Coach loves you. Everybody loves you. We all love you. We need that playmaker. Coming down there from the great state of Texas now. Armani, look how good you look in that green and white. I already know. You know it too. So let's make it official, like a referee's whistle. What you say, Brian?
Oh, I think, Tuck's got swag. You got a coach here for the long haul. You got a lot of people here that love you. And I don't know if you know this, Jason, but we got a nice NIL deal where every MSU football and basketball player gets paid.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm trying to get my eligibility back. So you just wake up. You sign Michigan State. You got 6,000. And counting.
You got a quarterback now a coach that's here now for 10 years. That's locked in, building a program, got a lot of momentum.
Oh,
10 years. How about?
What else can you ask for?
You can't ask for that. What you can ask for is a big tackle. We need a big tackle. And I'll tell you what, watching film on Kenyatta Goodwin.
Ooh,
Talk to Kenyatta a little bit, Jay. He's quiet.
Kenyatta.
He's quiet.
I like him. I like the Hollywood. He got that flair, man. I mean, he's from Indiana like me. I know about, hey, big fella. I seen you down in Tuscaloosa a couple weeks ago. And then the next week, I seen you in East Lansing. I see you, big fella. And, Chris, your homeboy. Hey, look.
Oh, Chris
we
Vaughn.
Love Chris.
Talk to Chris Vaughn. We appreciate you, man.
Chris has been doing he's been doing God's work. Love Chris Vaughn. He's out here getting his kids exposure like they should, letting them see the other side. I just seen he had a youngster that's got a commitment from the University of Kentucky. Like incredible work that Chris Vaughn has been able to do. And, this is a guy who's a mentor for you, Kenyatta, and I think that the two of you are so valuable to what we're doing here in East Lansing that it's just a match made in heaven.
I'm telling you.
This is the beginning.
He mentors young men. I mean, his business is called Aspirations. He mentors young men. He's a great role model. And you know what, Chris Vaughn. Chris Vaughn. We appreciate you, and we appreciate you how you look out for these young men. And we're hoping to build a relationship with you. And God bless you for everything that you do. We really appreciate that. Zion Young, defensive end. Another one that we want.
Oh.
Stray, tell him, Stray.
Come on, East Lansing. Come on now, Mr. Young. Big fella. 6'6", coming off that edge like you're supposed to. Where is he from? White Lake?
White Lake.
Ooh,
Georgia.
Come on now. Hey, we need you. Plug and play. If you want, you see what's going on over down the road down there, and the guys going to the Heisman Trophy ceremony. Imagine what we can do with you here. You got all the support. We're gonna have all the back support that you need. As Brian said, NIL deals, all that stuff. I mean, stuff that the coaches can't talk about. We'll tell you. We'll tell you the truth. Michigan State, they need you. I'm going to tell you like that. If I had my glasses on, my Cardis, when I see you in person, I'm going to have my Cartier, my Buffaloes on. You know what them are. I'm going to show you. Come on, Michigan State. All of y'all, man.
We played here. Listen,
we know what this is about.
We played here. We know what this is about. Armani Winfield. We know what this is about. Kenyatta Goodwin. We know what this is about. Zion Young.
They ain't met Freddie Loke yet.
Oh, you mean
Wait
Freddie?
till they meet Freddie.
Once you meet Freddie, it's over.
They'll be in the studio with the Migos.
Absolutely. And Chris Vaughn, we appreciate you, brother. We appreciate you. So, anyway, we got some other, hopefully, transfers in the portal coming. We're looking at a couple possible commits coming from different parts of the country. Looking nothing official yet, but Caleb Coley, Chris Bogle, and then Jacoby Winman. These are all, if there's any message I can give to you three is that you've seen Coach Tucker grab young men from all over the country, mix, mesh, build a program,
quickly.
Put them together quickly. We win here quickly. We'd love to have you.
Oh, Brule, who's on his way here right now.
Brule, Mississippi State.
Too, Mississippi State. We ain't forgot about you.
Come on down.
Come on.
We got
Go ahead
you.
to make the right decision.
We got you.
Oh, man. Jacob, man, you see the way his feet, man, that linebacker can get back in coverage, man.
He can
quick.
play now.
Oh, UNLV.
He's a 3-down back.
Plug and play. Put him in there.
3-down black.
Put him in there right now.
Yep. UNLV, Mississippi State, Florida, Vanderbilt. Bring them all to East Lansing. Mix, mesh. Coach Tuck got that swag. Play you all. Hoist the natty together. Come on down. Just come on down. No question. Speaking of recruiting, though, is Jim Comparoni ready? We do need headphones to hear him. I don't have any headphones to hear him. Do you have any headphones to hear him? You pointed to the headphones.
Bring old Jim on.
Bring old Jim on for me. Legendary Jim Comparoni. Thank you. Totally forgot about my pair of headphones.
Do we have audio or just or visual or both?
Jim
There
Comparoni. There
Hi,
he
guys.
is.
How you doing? Great to be on the show.
Great to have you. Thank you for joining us.
I had a couple of things. I had some props, and I didn't get a chance to dig through them. At one point, Spartan Magazine back in the mid-1990s, we had a cover with Brian Mosallam on it next to Matt Beard. It had your GPAs on there, which were really impressive, by the way. Both you guys were well above 3.6. And I think the headline was something like Brain Trust or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mosallam was on the cover, and I was going to dig through it and bring it out here, but I ran out of time today. Now, Jason, you were all Big Ten, but we never had you on the cover. Sorry about that.
I was on the cover of something. Maybe it wasn't
Not
Spartan Mag.
we weren't bright enough to do that, but both of you guys were good. I'm just a reporter out here trying to do my best, but you guys are the real thing. Great.
Man, that's a
Thanks for having me on.
beautiful Spartan Stadium behind you. Jeez.
Yeah. Now this was from a few weeks ago. It wasn't that sunny today. We're not taping this live, but that's the magic of a green screen. But this is the press box. I did take this photo in the press box actually last year prior to a game, so it kind of works. That's the way we do things.
Jim, let me give you a little advice. If you're showing great points, we're probably not winning Big Ten championships.
It can be done. You guys are pretty good. It can be done.
So give us a little bit of your insight about this incoming recruiting class and what your thoughts are and where this program's heading under Coach Tucker.
Recruiting, with the things that Tucker's doing right now, with the way he's going coast to coast, and going after recruits that, as a Michigan State observer, I've not really seen Michigan State attack it this way. You were talking about Armani Winfield, wide receiver from Texas, a 4-star, top 200 wide receiver, 6'1.5", something like that. A guy that was a Texan, committed to the Longhorns. Michigan State got a foot in the door with him. They just kept recruiting him, got him to visit while he was still committed to the Longhorns. Then he decommitted. Now Michigan State has a solid chance to get him. For Michigan State to be that ambitious to go after that young man, that's not something Michigan State's done in the past. Michigan State's had success in their own way, staying close to home and, doing a really good job of evaluation, player development, with some 4 stars thrown in there. D'Antonio had great success, and it was really a pleasure to cover his teams and so forth. And he did it his way. There's more than one way to do it. D'Antonio, a lot of times, if he went more outside the region, that would be maybe later in the recruitment if he didn't get what he was looking for closer to home. With Tucker and his staff, they are going coast to coast from the jump, from the beginning. And for the Michigan game, for example, Michigan State had visitors, 4-star visitors from the state of Washington. A corner came in to visit, a top 100 guy. Georgia and California, Texas. That's a different way that Michigan State's ever approached it before. And I think they've got a salesperson at the top who also has a great resume and X's and O's acumen to blend it all together. Plus, he's got a personality and he's a salesman. From what he's shown so far, he's really impressive. And this is something I've mentioned in the past. I mentioned it in August and maybe early in the season. Mel Tucker might be the total package. Part of that package is the salesmanship and the recruitment, but also the energy and the ambition and all those things put together. So the recruiting, I'm not going to say the recruiting pitch, but the recruiting philosophy is go big from the jump, coast to coast, and it's going to be interesting to see how that meshes with Michigan State recruiting for the next couple of years. It's different. And right now, the current class is ranked number 14 in the country by Rivals.com. Our website is part of the Rivals.com system, and that's. I don't know if they're going to stay number 14 because there's some powerhouses below them that are still going to add recruits. But number 14, anything in the top 25 is pretty solid. And going into the 23 class, I think that's where you can see even more of a significant jump for team recruiting rankings for what that's worth.
What happens to the class if Michigan State was able to land some of those other 5 stars that we talked about, like Kenyatta Goodwood, or Armani, a guy like that? Would that improve the ranking for Michigan State?
It would help Michigan State. I think it would help Michigan State stay in that top 20. And you know what? Michigan State's number 14 tonight. Last night they're number 13. As you guys know, that's just kind of a forecast thing. I've been covering recruiting for a long time, since back when you were recruited Strayhorn. I remember talking to your high school coach a long time ago in the 90s. But I've been just trying to watch recruiting to try to gain some sense of it. And it kind of reminds me, like right now, if you look at the current top 25 football teams, who's number 25? I don't know who it is. It might be, it might be Purdue or someone like that. It might be, I don't know. But college football teams, whether you're number 21 or number 37, there's not much of a difference, right, between 21 and 37 in college football right now, right, as far as teams go. I don't know if you'd agree with me on that or not. 25, 26, maybe one more victory. I'm not talking resume. I'm just talking if those two teams got on the field on Saturday, nobody would be surprised if number 36, also receiving votes, beat number 21 is what I'm getting at. Same thing in preseason rankings. Everybody picks up, the Phil Steele magazine and Lindy's and Street Smith, and they'll look at the rankings in June and July, and they'll see that a team is ranked number 24 in the country in the preseason, and then somebody else is ranked number 39, and people are like, oh, man, we're only number 39. But like I said, right now today, if you took number 39 also receiving votes against 24, they might be about even. Same thing in recruiting rankings. If you're number 24, that's good. If you're number 37, is there a big difference there? From what I've seen over the years covering this stuff, you generally want to be in that top 45. And I've never been able to tell much of a difference between a number 26 recruiting class and a number 44 ranked recruiting class. 26 to 44, throw them together, they're about the same. Now, the coaching staffs, which of these staffs are the best at evaluating talent, getting their type of guys, player development, and then the X's and O's and putting it all together over a 365-day calendar year to get a football team together. You can do it like D'Antonio did with classes ranked from 24 to 44. But if you're outside of 45, then you're kind of picking last a little too often, and you could run into trouble there. Now, do you guys mind long answers? I kind of do long answers.
No, go, give it to us.
All right. Now there's a different threshold in that top 20, top 11 to top 20. That's a little different threshold. You got a better chance to maybe have a top 15 team on a regular basis that way. But that top 10 recruiting ranking, I've been suspicious of that over the years, but I've been watching it for 25 years. And is it chicken or the egg? When you guys played, you might remember that Notre Dame was always ranked real high, and Michigan and Ohio State. These days it's Alabama, LSU, Georgia, always ranked real high. Back in those days, it's like, okay, is Michigan and Notre Dame, are they ranked that high just to sell publications, just to sell subscriptions, or to sell, a year subscription to, the old Super Prep or Tom Lemming or those type of things? And there was some of that business possibly going on, who knows? But those teams were also really good. Were they recruiting well because they were good teams, or was it vice versa? The one test to that whole thing that happened in recent years, Clemson. Clemson was not a blue blood. They're not a program that if you put them in the top 10 in recruiting rankings, they're not going to sell publications for you. But before Clemson became a power on the field, they showed up with top 10 classes, and it wasn't helping anybody's business. Those rankings, their rise to power was preceded by some really strong top 10 classes. There's other people out there that look at rosters from top to bottom and say you need a certain number of 4-star recruits in order to realistically contend for a national championship. And I can't really disprove that. In recent years, you've seen Alabama's and some of those highly ranked recruiting power juggernauts win national championships. To win it all, you probably do need X number of 4-stars. Now, it's going to take a while. If you believe that, and that's true, it'll take a while for Michigan State to get to that level. But right now, first threshold, you want to recruit, in my opinion, between 25 and 45. There's another threshold between 11 and 25 or 11 and 20. That's where Michigan State is right now, number 14 class in the country, which is better than I anticipated this year.
Well, Jim, here's my question. You said it's going to take a while. Michigan State just pulled 41 new players a year ago, half from the portal and the other half from, high school recruiting. You're seeing another split right now with the guys that Coach Tucker and their staff are going after, from the portal. These are kids that I don't know if they were what their star rank was before. I mean, what happens when they transfer? Do you reclassify their stars if they've played at a different university?
I think
how do you look at that?
The people that keep track of those things, they look back to see what their original ranking was when they're trying to figure out who is, recruiting.
Okay, so they look at the original rank.
Yeah, and the portal throws another shrew into that because everybody can see that Kenneth Walker III is a 5-star talent, but he was only a 3-star recruit coming out of Tennessee. So Wake Forest did a great job evaluation there, right? And you know what? Hey, and here's part of it. Kenneth Walker was good at Wake Forest. You go look at his film, it was good. But, man, he's better now. And that gets into player development. And Kenneth Walker is the one person that you can look at and say, okay, Michigan State strength conditioning situation and the nutrition improvements, they made an impact on that young man. He was a good player on the way in. He became a great player. He always had that talent. He made himself a great player with the work he put in. But the oversight Michigan State's having in player development from an athletic standpoint showed up with him. I think it showed up with Jaden Reed also. It probably helped the offensive line. I think those are good signs going forward for Michigan State football.
So here's my question to you. If we're Michigan State hypothetically is able to land Armani Wingfield, Kenyatta Goodwin, Zion Young, gets a couple transfers like Caleb Coley, Chris Bogle, Jacob Winman, where do you think like MSU falls recruiting class-wise?
Right now for Rivals.com, Michigan State has 4 recruits that are 4-star prospects. Dylan Tatum, the defensive back from West Bloomfield, Jaden Mangum, safety for Birmingham Groves, Alex Van Sumeren, defensive tackle from Essexville Garber, Caden Hauser, the quarterback.
Yeah, watch film on him.
Caden Hauser, the quarterback out there from St. John's Bosco Prep out in California, those 4. Now, I think Antonio Gates should be a 4-star. I think he had a great senior year.
Absolutely 4-star. I'm a Fortune tractor. I can vouch. He's a 4-star. and I think Terrell Henry had a real good season at Roseville too. I've seen some 4-star wide receivers in the past. I think he's better than some of those guys. That's just my opinion. But they got 4 stars. Usually you need about 7 or 8 4-stars to have a top 15, top 19 type of class. So they're going to need a couple more. Otherwise they might get jumped a little bit. Armani Winfield could give them one. Keontae Goodwin could give them one. Is there a chance someone like Gates could have his it could be reclassified to a 4-star? I think if they look closely at his film when they get around to it, I think that is possible.
if you got Winfield and Goodwin tonight, I think Michigan State's class would jump up to the top 10. I don't know if it would stay there because others would jump them. But if you get those two guys, I think it's a top 20 class, which is pretty solid. And Zion Young, the defensive end from Atlanta Westlake, a guy that's been committed to West Virginia. A guy that's coached, defensive coordinator down there is Trey Person, who played for Michigan State last
Absolutely.
year.
Yep.
Yeah, he's coaching Zion Young down there. I think that's a good, solid, high 3-star that can help as well. Michigan State's still in on some corners, like you mentioned. So, I think they got a
Westlake's
chance to
that
have
school that Cam Newton went to. Isn't that right?
Yeah. I think so.
Yep.
I think Michigan State's got a chance to have a top 20 class, which does not guarantee top 15 football in the future, but it's a nice load of groceries to have when you're trying to put a spread together. You know what I mean?
It's funny, we laugh about these rankings, and over the years we said they don't mean anything, but if you look at the teams year in, year out in the playoffs, they have those 5-star, 4-star kids. I mean, Nick Saban always says in the NFL you get one first-round draft pick. College, you can get as many as you want. And it holds true. I mean, the top teams are at the top every year. So I have no doubt in my mind once Mel gets us going, he'll be able to compete for some of the top talents across the country. And you're seeing his reach. I mean, you're seeing Texas, Georgia, California. I mean, you're seeing him reach all across the country, where before we lived by that 300, 400-mile radius. And kudos to Mel because of all the stops where he's been. His staff's been across the country. And you're seeing them being able to extend all over the country and expand the brand.
Absolutely. And I think they did pretty well in the state of Michigan this year, too. I think
Yeah.
Jaden Mangum, I don't know if you've seen his secret film, but Jaden Mangum at about 6'3.5".
Underrated.
His range is a safety, and he comes up and just doubles people over, just jackknives people coming in, form tackling, and hitting hard with some sweet tackles like Narduzzi used to teach. He hasn't played under Narduzzi, but Narduzzi was big on sweet tackles. Native Mangum, single safety need, a lot of cover 3, coming up, playing the run, physicality. Now, this is a guy that played wide receiver at a high level also, not only in high school, but in the summer circuit. You watch the summer film, the guys out there in shorts and t-shirt, he could go up and high point it with long arms, ball skills, but that's like a plus at the safety position. But this year, speed, play the run, physicality. Jaden Mangum, real nice in-state player that Michigan State closed on this year. It's a big addition to the class.
Yeah, I'm loving it, man. Let's get to some of these comments that are on your message boards. This is the fun stuff. Spartan Mag has what's called like the underground bunker. They have forums. They have people who
Jason loves this stuff.
I love it. I love it because they have they make comments. And here we go. Mosallam annoys me. Not sure why.
Who wrote that? Where are they? Couple likes on there. Okay.
Well,
I can help you. You're not sure why? Come on. Boy, does Mosallam suck. You got that right. What a self-promoting tool.
Hold on, who wrote that? Go back.
Who wrote
those? I
Doesn't
can't read
matter.
those names.
Tom Burr.
It's like
I love you, Tom. Appreciate it. Thank you.
We got more.
Jason loves us.
Mosallam is a giant douche.
I've lost 100 pounds. Hold
See,
on.
that's
A
it.
small, more
That's
chiseled douche. Who wrote that?
What? He's on the wrong. I don't know.
End of the story, reality. But who said Mosallam's a giant douche? D. Kotz? Do Kotz?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's okay. Thank you. I'm smaller now.
What? It's an oxymoron. Can Mosallam go play in traffic already?
I would get hit though. Why would I? That's not cool.
Mosallam has become a certified ass clown these days. Evidently. He just can't help himself. Step away from the microphone.
Okay, I'll try. All right. Good. Jim, you look uncomfortable. We love the banter. We grew up in a locker room.
Is this like the locker room?
What else? What's next?
It's the same thing.
Giant douche.
Giant douche.
All right, lost 100 pounds, smaller. Go ahead.
Because he wears baby cat T-shirts.
Who's that from? Spartan? Spartan DO51. I can't see that. Thank you. That's Bugatti. baby blue Bugatti shirts. Appreciate that.
This is what really pissed everyone off. Him constantly cutting off Coach D was annoying as hell.
I went back and watched a tape on that. I agree with you. My apologies. I was doing that. I will get better. Thank you for the constructive criticism.
That was constructive?
Okay. Very constructive. Thank you.
All right.
Brian, I give you a lot of credit for your sense of humor and your self-evaluation on this. This is awesome.
I mean, you have to be real. You have to self-reflect.
I don't know what's this.
I'm limited on the time at the moment, but we structured the deal in the way in order to get it done. This is from who? And Mel would never leave again. Hold on. We structured the deal. This must be from. Who's this from? Is this from Michigan State University? We structured the deal. I want to meet this guy who structured the deal. Come on the show. Listen, whoever structured the deal for the Mel Tucker deal, Brian Mosallam at gmail.com. Email me.
Oh,
come on the show and tell us how you structured the deal. We'd love to hear how you structured the deal. And if you structured this deal, I will cancel the show. We're done. Shut it last time we air. But I want to know how we structured the deal. So come on the show and tell us. Otherwise, Jim, great stuff, man.
I don't know why he knows me. I have no idea.
I can't. None of that was my fault or any of my.
It is your fault. You're allowing them to talk about me like that, Jim.
You gave him the environment, Jim.
That's your fault. You're fostering a culture of hostility.
I feel like we need to explain to the people exactly what all that madness was. Over at SpartanMag.com, we've got a message board called the Underground Bunker Message Board.
It's all fun. Some guys get serious on there, man.
It's all good.
It's fun.
Jim, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you. We're going to have you on in the future. Thank you. And maybe we need to start reading more of those comments. And if somebody wants to leave questions for us, we can answer them.
And some interactive stuff. Interactive douchebags.
Whoever structured the deal, please come on the show.
Come on, man.
We'd love to have you, man. We love. Jim, thank you for your time. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Anytime. Signing day is coming up next week. SpartanMag.com will have all your coverage there and analysis of Michigan State basketball and football recruiting as Michigan State tries to get some of these guys that are in the portal, like Jacoby Whitman, the offensive lineman you guys were talking about before from UNLV in New Orleans, and also Chris Bogle, the defensive end from Florida. The Gators are trying to keep him, but we'll find out.
We're close on those two.
We're
getting there. Just so
coming
you know.
Around the mountain.
We'll scoop you later after we get off the air. Thank you, Jim.
All right, thanks, Jimmy.
Take care. Everybody, thank you very much. We didn't get to MSU basketball. We'll get to it next week. We got a hot week of recruiting news here. Thank you for your time tonight. Appreciate you joining Inside the Locker Room. I am Brian Mosallam along with my co-host Jason Strayhorn. Good night and go green.
God bless.
He stumped him. He stumped him. He stumped him. Nice block. Wow. Great penetration. Surge through the middle of that Michigan State